Hello, everyone. It's December the 26th. Sad face. Yes, December 26th tends to be a little bit on the sad side, not because of anything particularly unhappy that happens, but because all that anticipation that builds up prior to Christmas is popped like a balloon. We deflate. Even though the joy of having should be as delightful as the thrill of anticipating. Somehow it never quite feels that way, even when you get grown, as old as I am. But still, for some people, December 26th is a day to celebrate because December 26th is the day when a majority of stores stop playing Christmas songs. There are a few holdouts, but most of the time, December 26th, Christmas Christmas songs gone. And for a lot of people, that's a good thing, and I can understand that because during the Christmas season, certain songs and certain renditions of songs get played and 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 played. So the escape from Christmas music becomes a good thing. Well, I figured what better day could I find to talk a little bit about my favorite Christmas music. Because I do love Christmas music, mostly because I don't really listen to what's played on the radio, and I'm usually pretty good at tuning out what's played in stores. I make playlists, and I basically listen to things that I already know I like. I have vast playlists. One is simply called Christmas. That's my catch-all list. But I have a list for Christmas jazz. I have a list for Christmas Broadway. I have a big old list of Christmas Celtic folk and Celtic folk and classical. And this past year, I decided to try to narrow things down into an eclectic, smaller list of Christmas favorites. And even when I listen to that, and I start in the middle of November. Nobody knows about this but me, because I listen on my headphones or I listen in my car. I do not subject anybody to early pre-December Christmas music except myself. But even starting as early as that, there are some songs that don't come up on the playlist and that I don't get to hear. So that's always a little sad when the time comes for me to move on from Christmas music, but I'm a bit of a holdout. I will listen to Christmas music until January. Then when January comes along, it's time to get back to normal things. January, of course, not being an especially colorful month, not a lot of lights or stars or candles or ornaments or anything. So, my favorite Christmas music. So, I'm not going to do any ranking. I'm just going to talk about some Christmas music that I like because ranking is where things get controversial, and I would like this to be a controversial free video. So, a controversy free video, that is. So, first of all, some of the classical stuff. I love old sounding Christmas music. I love Christmas music from the 19th century on back to the time when you get to the medieval carols, the oldest carols. And I love them particularly when they are sung by a good choir. The Cambridge Singers, under the direction of John Rutter, they do a number of Christmas albums in which every song is just gorgeous to hear, gives you chills. There's also Harry Christopher's in the 16, the Queen 6 / the King 6. They have a number of albums where just about every song gives you this feeling of wonder, like peace be still. And sometimes we need that. A lot of Christmas songs tend to be very upbeat and over orchestrated, and sometimes we need the quieter stuff. Peace be still. The Martin Best Ensemble, they specialize in actual medieval and Elizabethan Christmas tunes. There's also the Rose Ensemble. They've done a good album which does a mix of the old traditional English carols and 19th century American carols. Definitely worth checking these particular groups out. Another passion of mine is Celtic Christmas music. A singer I like a lot called Runa has done a couple of Christmas albums, and almost every song is good. Another one, a little bit more popular, that many of you might have heard of, Lorena McKennitt. She has a couple of Christmas albums out now, and the first one is actually the one I like best because that's the one in which she gives her rendition of Good King Wenceslas. There's actually an instrumental version and a vocal version on that same album. And the instrumental version, that is my favorite. Sorry, the vocal version. Boy, I'm making a lot of mistakes today. Okay, but the vocal version is actually my favorite version of that song that I have ever heard. Moya Brennan, her album An Irish Christmas is very good. Katie McMahon has done a couple of good ones. Cara Dillon and Orla Fallon, formerly with Celtic Woman, has a number of very beautiful Christmas albums out. Another album that I want to highlight specifically doesn't necessarily fit neatly into any particular category because it's kind of out there on its own as far as this is the only thing of this kind in my playlist, but it's by a gospel singer named Odetta. It's called Christmas Spirituals. And every single song on this album is good. That's not something you can say about a lot of albums. A lot of albums, they're just one or two numbers you just want to skip over. But this one, you just pop the album in or you call it up on iTunes and Apple Music and just listen to it song after song and produces some really good vibes, some really good jazz slash blues vibes with, of course, Odetta's powerful contralto voice driving the whole thing. Now, as far as individual songs go, a few that don't really get a lot of play, or at least a few where my favorite versions don't get a lot of play. One is a song, I've only heard a couple of covers of it, and it's not as well known as it deserves to be. It's a song called Some Children See Him. And it actually tackles the occasionally controversial question of what does Jesus look like? And the the song answers, some children see him lily white with tresses soft and fair. Some children see him bronzed and brown with dark and heavy hair. And the lyrics go on to say, the children in each different place will see the baby Jesus face, like theirs, but bright with heavenly grace and full of holy light. 'Tis love that's born tonight is the last lyric of the song. And it has a haunting melody as well. I know that talking about music in a video like this is kind of tough when you can't play any of the songs because of copyright slash public domain issues. But Go to YouTube, type the title of that song into the search box and see what comes up because it's a wonderful, sweet, thoughtful tune and well worth a listen in this time between now and New Year's. A few songs that are just fun as all get out. Um, Leslie Odom Jr. has put out a couple of Christmas albums, and his second one is my favorite because it has a couple of songs I like to listen to over and over again. One is the opening number called Snow. It's exactly the opposite of Some Children See Him in terms of its tone. It's it snaps. And while Some Children See Him is very thoughtful, Snow is just pure serotonin. And another one, a little bit more on the thoughtful side, is his duet with Cynthia Erivo, whom you may be familiar with as Elphaba in the movie Wicked that's out right now. Winter Song. Another version of this particular song I like is from an album called If the Fates Allow, a Hadestown Christmas album, where the stars of Hadestown, Eva Nobladeza and Reeve Carney, duet on this tune. One that does get a little bit overplayed, but that I like anyway, is Louis Armstrong's Zat You Santa Claus. I just love the heck. Well, anything Louis Armstrong does in a Christmas vein is gonna be awesome. But this is his most famous number, and there's just such a devilish in, kind of joy in that particular song. Now, before I wrap things up, Christmas may be over and done with, but Hanukkah is just getting started. So I want to highlight a Hanukkah song that has made it onto my playlists, and it's a gorgeous song, holiday song. It's called We Are Lights. And Kristen Chenoweth does an amazing version of this song. I mean, it's it's sung in a very solemn and sincere way, and the melody is hauntingly beautiful. So if you want to hear something that may just take your breath away, type We Are Lights and Kristen Chenoweth into the search box on YouTube and give it a listen. So for all of those who love all those of us who love holiday music in spite of the naysayers, this one's for you. See you soon.